ratio. The addition of stream was a new question that we asked the staff this time. If they enjoyed having the kids participate in only one recess this year as opposed to 2 recesses last year. The second recess was a structured PE, music, or guidance session this time around. And we also asked them what they would like to see, what they felt needed to be either changed or included for possibly next year.
That's great. Thank you.
One more thing. Do we have the information on our website about this? It just occurred to me just now where I would have looked.
We had actually a summer learning camp specific page
Okay.
that Susanna Gentry developed, and a Young Scholars page.
If we're allowed to put something like that video, I think that video is precious, and it just shows parents and kids that it's a fun environment and that it's different.
Thank you.
I know that when we first started this, it was because we had priority students, and the summer learning camp came out of the pandemic, correct? Yeah, when there was like a legislation that said we had to, yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah, I remember, it says it in here, the Learning Loss and Student Acceleration Act. So all the students that we enrolled were considered priority. And do we test at the end of the summer learning camp to see if we bump them up a little bit off the priority list, or?
Yes, part of the legislation also required a pre-assessment and a post-assessment, and results are trickling in as far as those. So once we have the big picture, we'll share that with you as well.
I had another question.
Yes.
We have middle school students that sometimes have to take classes in the summer because they didn't succeed during the school year. Do they still do that separately, or do they come to this program as well?
We have folded that into summer learning camp, both in 2021 and 2022. Thanks for that question.
All right, any other questions, comments?
I just wanted to say thank you guys for a second year in loving on our students in this capacity, and you're just as fired up as you were last year. That's one thing I clearly remember, and we don't take this for granted, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Esslinger?
Oh, can you wait a second? Can I have help getting on Wi-Fi? I'm sorry. It always remembered my connection, but now it didn't, and I know I saw the construction report, but I'd like to pull it up as we talk.
Yes, Anderson.
Please. Yeah, we all want that. ID and password. Thank you, sorry. Okay, thank you. I'm on now, thank you.
Well, my report is not near as cute and adorable as Dr. Decker's report. Mine deals with a very old, rusty building that we're renovating, and I hope you enjoyed some of those pictures where we are in the process of demolition. But I'll just open the floor for any other questions regarding the construction report at this time, rather than going through the weeds of it. I hope you found the information worthwhile.
I had a question. I think you mentioned this last time, but with the Johnson Elementary kitchen, that's just been relocated somewhere else, and services are up and running fine there for the students?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I figured they were. I just wasn't sure how we had
They're going to
solved that.
serve in the multipurpose room until that is finished, yes.
Have you found any delays with construction? It says that it will be finished December.
In which project?
For Johnson's kitchen.
Not at this time.
Okay.
But there's a but. ... So stay tuned. We're just in the final stages of demo. So all the procurement is coming with the equipment and supplies and things. We did run into a slight issue with the sanitary sewer. For some reason, everything is not underground where it's supposed to be. And we found out there was an issue with that, which did hit the contingency a little bit, and I explained that in the report. But that's the only, that was a big, I'll say a big hiccup in the project so far. But
And of all the projects we have ongoing at the moment, what is the next one that will be completed?
Final completion of the gym and pack is very close in the horizon, although we still have, warranties and
Right.
and things. After that, this building final completion is very, very close. And then after that, it would be the ball fields are scheduled to be finished in November, first week of November or so. So that's the top three.
Okay.
Any other questions for Dr. Esslinger? Thank you, sir. Approval of the board agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion, second.
A second.
All right. Thank you. Approve, all in favor? All right. Approval of the consent agenda. Motion. Motion, second.
Second.
Ms. Newman. All in favor? Thank you. Business before the board. Dr. Snowden.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a second reading for the Policy Revision Board Members' Legal Status 1.102. Public Chapter 809 revised the qualification for school board candidates. State law now requires that candidates be a qualified voter and resident in the county for 1 year prior to the qualifying deadline for nominating a candidate. Per TSBA Director of Policy and Staff Attorney, since this provision appears to solely apply to county districts, it is recommended that if you're in a city or special school district, to reach out to Attorney and Election Commission for clarification. As we said last meeting, our Williamson County Election Commissioner, Chad Gray, interprets this new public chapter as applying to our district. The legislation is effective as of the end of next month and will apply to the next election in 2024. For the second reading, we have added an additional line on page 1 under qualifications to include also being a resident of the FSSD for at least 1 year prior to the election. And as we stated at the July meeting, our private acts do state that board members have to reside within the FSSD boundaries to serve. So with that change, we recommend approval of the second reading.
Thank you, sir. Motion to approve. Stilling, second.
Second.
Ms. Barker, is there discussion? All in favor? Thank you, sir.
Item number 2, policy revision, bids and quotations, 2.806. This is also a second reading. TSBA Director of Policy has recommended this. More school boards will be able to increase their bidding threshold based on Public Chapter 1016. We currently have a threshold of $25,000. The threshold can further be increased to $50,000 if the district has a centralized purchasing authority, which we do, with a full-time purchasing agent, which we do, and the board votes to increase it. So it has to meet those criteria. Additionally, the new state law changes the bidding requirements for insurance providers per Public Chapter 719. Services from insurance providers are exempt from the bidding requirements. There were no changes on first reading. We recommend approval of second reading.
Thank you, sir. Motion to approve. Mr. Townsend, second.
I'll second.
Ms. Bell, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Item number 3 is a policy revision instructional standards 4.1011. This is also a second reading. TSBA has updated their model policy to clarify that complaints of alleged violations of TCA 491302 regarding prohibited concepts are required to comply with the complaint process outlined by the TDOE temporary emergency rule. Please note that the regulation below will change as the Department of Education implements a permanent regulation. Once the department releases a final regulation, we will send any recommended changes or bring any recommended changes to you for this policy. Additionally, TSBA has added clarifying language regarding how complaints may be submitted if materials are allegedly in violation of this chapter. We have used the TSBA model policy to update our policy regarding instructional standards and complaints, as well as adding policy 4.402 and updating policy 4.403 for your consideration. There were no changes in the first reading. We recommend approval of the second reading.
Thank you, sir. Motion to approve. Mr. Stillings, second.
I'll second.
Ms. Newman, discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, sir.
Item number 4, library material policy revision 4.403. This is a new policy. This is a second reading. Again, coming from TSBA, they revised their model policy 4.403 to focus solely on library materials and included the new requirements placed on school districts as outlined in Public Chapter 744. On further review, TSBA has made an additional edit to this policy to ensure that the roles of the Material Review Committee and the board are clearly defined. Clarifying these roles in policy 4.403 will better prepare school districts for when the State Textbook Commission and Instructional Materials Quality Commission releases its guidance on this topic by December 1st of this year, per Public Chapter 1137. TSBA recommends that all boards adopt this version of 4.403. There were no changes requested by the board in our first reading. We recommend approval of the second reading.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Townsend, is there a second? Ms. Barker, is there a discussion?
I had a question. Is this replacing a current library
No, it's
policy that we have?
No, it's a new policy.
It's a new policy,
Totally new policy.
Okay, outlining library protocol.
Library,
Okay.
well, it's not necessarily library protocols. It's every resource, every library book in our schools have to be cataloged and made available to the public.
Is that just something we're going to gradually work on, or does that have to be
Well,
done
we're working
before
on it
school
now,
started?
but we're still waiting for guidelines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you, sir.
Item number 5, policy revision, use of the internet, intranet, 4.406, second reading. This also comes from TSBA Director of Policy and Staff Attorney. They've updated their model policy 4.406 to align with the requirements of Public Chapter 1002. This new law requires boards to have a policy in place regarding complaints about how vendors provide access to online content. The law also requires districts to have a policy specifically allowing these complaints and stating how they will be handled. There were no changes in the first reading. We recommend approval of the second reading.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Stillings, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Bell, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Item number 6, policy revision, employment of retirees, 5.119. This is also a new policy, also second reading. Due to the increased vacancies of teaching positions across the state, the General Assembly passed Public Chapter 821, allowing an additional option for employment of retirees to fill these roles. To clarify the options for employing retirees, the TSBA has created a model policy 5.119. Additionally, information on retirees has been removed from 5.200, 5.201, and 5.701 to help provide clarity. There were no changes on first reading. We approved second reading. I did want to add that I told a board member to ask a question that if a teacher retires and comes back under this new law, that there would not be any requirement for the school district to continue to pay TCRS, but there is a percentage that the school district would have to pay if a person chose this option. So they could retire, then draw 70% of their retirement compensation, but the district would also have to continue to contribute to TCRS. So I wanted to make sure I clarified that.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Townsend, second. Mr. Stillings, discussion?
Just a comment. This is I think, a game changer that I don't think is getting enough airplay at the state level. To just throw it out there and not give us all of the details necessary to be able to communicate to potential retirees that may want to exercise this option. So I would encourage the State Department of Education to get on the ball and give us these details so that our staff may wish to consider.
And we do have one person that does plan to retire and take advantage of this. Their retirement date didn't necessarily coincide with the end of school, so we're working with that individual. So we'll soon see how it works in a practical sense and not just theoretical sense.
I just had a question on the policy. This policy deals with people who want to teach for up to 120 days, is that correct? Or they can teach full-time for a whole year. We can hire them right out for a full year?
Yeah, they have to be, I think it says 60 days. They have to be retired 60 days, then they can come back full-time and teach the entire year. And I think it says, if I'm not mistaken, it says up to 3 years. I think that was what the initial length of the statute. I think there's a sunset provision in there. You can only hire them for 1 year at a time, which that's what we do now. So there's no difference in that. You're hired on a 1-year contract, and then if the principal wants you back, then they would offer you a contract for another year.
And so would that mean that they could, if they didn't want to be hired full-time but they wanted to substitute, they could substitute as much as they wanted?
Well,
is that part of this policy?
No, that's not part of this
That's
policy.
not part of this. But they could be retired and get benefits and substitute and get... or does that not have anything to do with this?
They wouldn't get the benefits.
Okay.
Because unless it...
benefits is what it was
Oh,
for.
yeah,
Does
they
this
can draw
address
their
substitute?
retirement compensation.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Item number 7, policy revision, separation practice for tenured teachers, 5.200. This is also a second reading. As in the description for the new policy, 5.119, information on retirees has been removed from this policy from 5.200, 5.201, and 5.701 to help provide clarity, and also placed in 5.119 for clarification on the option for employing retirees. TSBA has provided this guidance due to the increased vacancies, as we stated earlier. There were no changes in the board. With the first reading, we recommend approval of this second reading.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Bell, is there a second? Mr. Barker? All right. Is there a discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Item number 8, policy revision, separation practices for non-tenured teachers, 5.201. Again, in the description for this new policy, information on retirees has been removed. TSBA has provided this guidance, as we said earlier, due to the vacancies. In addition, this Public Chapter 678 requires districts to include additional information when providing notices of non-renewal in certain instances. If a teacher is non-renewed due to the lack of funding for the position, the non-renewal notice must include that information as the reason for the non-renewal, which we all believe is certainly the appropriate thing to do, because if we have to non-renew a person because of lack of enrollment, then we certainly, a non-renewal usually, when principals receive those notices of people been non-renewed, the red flag goes up, which it should go up. But this will help explain if a teacher is non-renewed because of the lack of funding. So we think this is certainly a good policy, a good change. There were no changes on the first reading. We recommend approval of the second reading.
Thank you, sir. Motion to approve. Ms. Newman, second. Ms. Barker. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Item number 9, substitute personnel, 5.701. This is also a second reading. As in the description of the new policy, information on retirees has been removed. TSBA has provided the guidance due to the increased vacancies, and we've already said. There were no changes recommended on first reading. We recommend approval of second reading.
Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Newman,
I'll second.
second. Ms. Bell. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Item number 10, policy revision reporting child abuse, 6.409. This is also a second reading. With the June TSBA policy updates, revisions have been provided for this policy. It narrows the category of individuals who must receive training on child abuse. In the past, state law required all school personnel to receive the training, but moving forward, this training will only be required for employees working directly with students. But as we discussed last meeting, we as a district can include the training for all employees, so we're working to make sure we do that so that any and all our employees would receive this training. Additionally, Public Chapter 781 allows employees to first report to the Department of Children's Services and law enforcement if an alleged incident of child abuse involves someone previously employed by, or otherwise affiliated with the school district. The district's child abuse coordinator must still be notified. However, in those instances, they are not required to be notified until the other entities are contacted. The board requested, as we said, that all employees be trained, so as we said earlier, that's moving forward. We recommend approval of this second reading.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Ms. Bell, second. Ms. Stillings. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Okay, item number 11 is a policy revision, attendance 6.200. This is a first reading. Tennessee Code annotated 4963007 changes the tiers of the progressive truancy plan. Under this new law, Tier 1 applies to all students to provide school-wide prevention-oriented supports. TSBA has previously provided updates to this policy to align with these changes. Along with these revisions, per Public Chapter 878, state law no longer permits the denial of a driver's license due to poor students' academic performance. Accordingly, TSBA has updated their model policy to reflect this change. We recommend approval of first reading.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Barker, second. Ms. Newman, discussion? Seeing none, all in...
Is this significantly different from what we've done before?
I'm going to let Ms. Glass.
It's not. Honestly, the only difference is the Tier 1 is just, encouraging and reiterating the importance of attendance to all students, directing the parents to the parent handbook if they have questions about attendance, those conversations that teachers have all the time about regular attendance. And then the principal still has the contract meeting if 5 unexcused days happen. It's just now Tier 2. And the counselors are still involved and have a meeting with the parent or a student to discuss barriers to attendance at 8 unexcused. It's just now Tier 3. So nothing has really changed. And then, of course, after that, if unexcused absences continue, then I would file a petition with the juvenile court.
So you don't expect any adverse outcomes for our third graders who are trying to get their driver's license?
I don't foresee that being.
Okay, good. Good.
Any other discussion? Got a motion and a second. All in favor? All right. Thank you. Dr. Snowden report.
Yes, I want to take this opportunity to recognize and to thank all the building administrators, the central office administrators, and of course our teachers. And you've heard me say this before, but I don't think you can say it too much. There is a lot of planning and organizing that goes on in the summer months so that we can have a smooth start, or as smooth as possible, start of each school year. And I just can't say enough positive things about what people have done. And have we had little bumps in the road? Yes, we had a few I guess mistakes, or we're going to have those, and it's going to take a while to get the buses and the start times or the pickup times and the get them home times, just because we're adjusting the new routes and new traffic patterns. So but overall, we've had a great day Friday and then a great first day today. But it's not without a lot of work, and I know you know that, but I just want to take this opportunity to publicly thank all the individuals for their hard work and dedication to this process. Speak about opening day for a moment. I thought it went extremely well. I'd like to thank, this is probably not too many school districts that have every single board member attend opening day, and we had every board member attend opening session, one opening session that day, at least one opening session. So thank you for your willingness to, we know you have paying jobs, and you work to make it to those opening ceremonies, and we certainly appreciate your efforts to do that. I think, well, I know our faculty and staff members, our employees like for you to be recognized, and like to recognize you for the support you provide them. And hopefully we did a good job of giving them the information to demonstrate all your support. I don't think we could do that in a few minutes, but we tried to do that and showcase what this board does for their employees, not for just the employees, but for our families. As I said at last Monday's sessions, that's your focus, first of all, on students and opportunities for students. Second of all, is how you can support employees, and that's by your actions. Your actions speak loudly when it comes to that. So thank you for your attendance. We had very positive feedback from teachers. Dr. Decker goes around to every school, and maybe has one more school to go, but gets feedback from our teachers and other employees about opening day and whether they liked it, what they didn't like, maybe what was good, what was not good. The professional learning sessions, if they were productive. So we try to get feedback each year so we can improve upon those opening day sessions. So all in all, I think it was good. We've had a lot of positive comments about Mr. Williams and his presentation as a keynote. So again, thank you for your participation, and thanks to everyone that made the opening day go extremely well, we thought. Questions from anyone? Mr. Townsend, I know you were really wanting to know why you were not included in the dance video.
I really, yeah.
You want to get up and show us something?
No, not today. Yeah, I should have been part of that, actually, absolutely.
Well,
I just want to say something that I really was appreciative of. I saw it live when you did it at the Breakfast with the Mayors. You made a comment that I'd say refuted what Dr. Larry Arnn said, and then bringing that back and showing that in the video, opening day, it was powerful. Our teachers need to hear you say that, and I just was so excited that the way you did it once at the Breakfast with the Mayors, and then again on opening day, because what you said was accurate. What the so-called Dr. Lawrence said was not accurate.
thank you for that. We were going to have, on a lighter note, we were going to have Mr. Alexander here, our transportation supervisor, to help teach the twist to people. if you've not seen that,
Please
you
do.
need to go back and take a look at that video. I did send it to my son, and my son, that was the only thing he could, who is the guy, who's the bus guy? He said he almost fell out of his chair. So it was and we had a lot of people comment about the video, but it's good for them to celebrate and have fun doing it. As I told Mr. Williams later, I said, we work hard, but we like to have fun too. So again, thank you for being there.
I want to say something really quick. I thought it was really great to have it in the pack. I'm sorry we had to have two, but it was still nice to be in there and be using it, and sound was amazing. The national anthem was amazing in there with the sound, and just, it was great to be in there and see it full of people. So I was glad we did it there.
Yeah, you know, it would be nice if you could have one, but hey, it worked great. And we talked this morning about, we just make sure our keynote, whoever that may be, understands that that's part of it. And I know our employees, I had several people comment about how comfortable the seating was compared to being in the gymnasium on bleachers and folding chairs, so it was definitely good. Again, we had our first full day back today, which is great. Kindergartners will come during one day during this week, and then they'll begin full-time next week on August the 15th. A reminder about Labor Day holiday, there'll be an early dismissal day on September the 2nd, and then the district and all the school offices and all the school will be closed September 5th. And then we provided you a list, update of conferences and meetings updates. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Any other comments or questions for Dr. Snowden? Not, updates, teaching and learning?
Nothing additional, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance administration?
Yes, you do have your financial reports, your personnel change reports in your board packet, and then the first sales tax comparison report. Collections are 5.6% higher than they were this period last year. So we're not burning it down, but we're going in the right direction.
All right. Any comments from the board?
I do have one. As we all know, this past week was election week, and congratulations to the three of us who returned, but we have a special guest in the audience tonight that I would like to introduce. And anytime somebody's willing to step out there, put their hat in the ring, and try to make the school district and the community a great place to learn and live, needs our respect and our admiration. So Laura Steno, would you please stand up and let us thank you for being a great candidate. Thank you.
Tim, we also need to thank Paisley because she spent a number of hours out there. And yes.
She did a good job on her scooter hanging on.
Okay. All right.
I wanted to personally say thank you to our community for their votes and their vote of confidence. But I also wanted to give a special thank you. I saw so many teachers and retirees that came out to support, and that means so much for them to take time out of getting everything ready for them to be able to take a moment to vote. It means a lot.
One other announcement, next month meeting, that's when the three that were just reelected will receive the oath of office. We have confirmed that Judge Bivens, Supreme Court Justice, will be there to do the swearing in. So we look forward to that ceremonial event and look forward to having Justice Bivens back again.
All right. Thank you all. If there's nothing else, then we are adjourned.